Born in April 1902, Leon Claxton was raised in Bartlett, Tennessee, near Memphis, the birthplace of blues music. Leon's mother was an educator, and his father was a musician, best known as the drummer who brought W.C. Handy, the father of the blues, from Clarksdale to Memphis to start a band in 1909. The W.C. Handy Band led the way in the rise of blues music on Beale Street. Growing up in the feral world of music, dance, and song, school didn't interest Leon a bit. He could sing and dance and do just about anything to make money.
I understand he actually ran away in his teens and he was a water boy, I believe, for Ringling Brothers with the Elephants. And from there, as most circuses and carnivals do, they groomed him for other things, and he wound up being a contortionist on the Ringling Brothers show, and he traveled with them for several years, and then he decided to branch out on his own and do some other things.
By the 1920s, the Claxtons moved to Chicago, along with more than 50,000 other rural Southern blacks who migrated to the city to escape the Jim Crow South. On Chicago's South Side, music was flourishing, blacks were thriving, and the Chicago Black Renaissance movement was growing. Man, it was boom time in Chicago, and although race relations were poor, the city was teeming with jobs and gigs for black artists. A lifetime member of the Chicago Federation of Musicians, Local 208, created for African Americans who were excluded from Local 10, O.C. Claxton brought his own style of blues music up from the South and helped to create Chicago's unique jazz sound. It was the perfect place for Claxton to cultivate his craft in the art of contortions. But everything would change in 1929. During the 10-year Great Depression, no group in America was more adversely affected than blacks. During those turbulent economic times, Leon Claxton started producing his own musical revues, featuring the many street artists, musicians, and dancers who took refuge at 3845 South State Street, Leon Claxton's theatrical headquarters, where signs outside advertised Claxton's daily open houses. The first troupe members to be featured in Claxton's productions included Charles Anderson, the yodeler, Hardtack Jackson, the cork artist, husband and wife dance team Dave and Helen Wiles, and Ruby Whitfield, Claxton's star dancer and longtime girlfriend. This new crazy, cool, colored troupe, known as Leon Claxton's Merry Mad Gang of Vaudevillians, was an instant success, being booked at nightclubs across Chicago.
I understand that Leon Claxton's ability to choreograph a show, to put things together, to make it what it was his strong point.
By 1932, Leon Claxton was being documented extensively by the Chicago Defender, who had dubbed him the Bronze Ziegfeld of Chicago and praised him for bringing new ideas to the people. Like Florence Ziegfeld, the great American Broadway producer, Claxton had a reputation for polished Las Vegas-style productions, groomed artists, attention to detail, and an obsession for beautiful showgirls. In 1933, the producers of the Chicago World's Fair selected Claxton to produce an all-colored musical revue on the Midway. Claxton's production, the Cotton Club Showboat Revue, was a colored rendition of Ziegfeld's famous Showboat that featured nearly 100 African-American performers in an elaborate production that stood out amongst the other minstrel shows at the fair. Progressive for its time, Claxton's revue received major accolades by outdoor show leaders who praised him for his innovative stage show. But by the last show, Claxton, who had put all his money into the production, was financially broke and contemplating his next career moves. It just so happens Carnival King C.J. Sedlemeyer was in the audience, and he immediately offered Claxton a lucrative deal to manage his failing minstrel attraction on Royal American shows. And the rest is carnival history.
Well, the inception of the carnival business actually began in 1893 at the Chicago World's Fair. Chicago was coming back from the Great Chicago Fire, and they wanted to put on their best face for the rest of the world. When the fair was over with, enterprising showmen saw the chance to make $1 by exhibiting strange and unusual creatures, animals, people. There weren't very many carnival rides because George Washington Ferris's Ferris wheel was so big it wasn't transportable. So a carnival midway in the early years was comprised maybe of 1 or 2 rides, but they might have 20 or 30 shows.
By the 1940s, there were nearly 400 carnival organizations touring North America that featured live shows to amuse large carnival audiences for profit. No midway was grander than Royal American Shows, world's largest carnival midway.
They were the 3 top railroad shows that went everywhere. J.J. Jones and Royal American, but the Royal American, that was it.
Royal American Shows is a traveling carnival with games, food concessions, shows, and rides. Probably at that time there were more shows and more food and probably a lot of games and very few rides. I've seen pictures. There's not really that many rides because of the era.
Royal American Shows was one of the largest traveling carnival midways in the world. They had, you name it, they had it. I mean, as far as carnivals go, the freak shows, the gyp joints on the midways, the midway was huge. It was at least a quarter mile long. I'm not sure how wide it was, but it was lined on both sides and down the center with something, activities of some kind going on.
Royal American Shows played all the biggest state fairs and exhibitions, traveling by train 25,000 miles across the U.S. and Western Canada.
It would grow. He would expand his route. He would. My grandfather was sometimes asked to come bid for a fair, and he would do so to, improve the length of the season. Not only the length of the season, but also how much money he could make, because that's the name of the game. You work to make money. Well, my father started with the carnival course when he was a little boy. He was Carl J. Sedlemeyer Jr. After the war, he went on as general manager for the show.
When I was growing up, February was not Black History Month for me. February was the month that the fair came to town. So it was very exciting. We lived in the same community in which the fair was set up. We lived right down the street from the fair, so on Negro Day we could walk to the fair. The midway was so exciting to me as a child because you would walk along and there were these stages and there were these, most of the time it was men, and they were trying to get people's attention to come and see this show.
In the old days, they'd have, like I said, 20 or 30 shows out there. And a ballet is an enticement to the general public to come in to see the show. And what they do is they bring a segment of the show out. And then there would be the talker, and he would be explaining what you would see on the inside, Of all the shows on the midway, the crown jewel of any carnival's midway was always the girls' show. And the girls' shows, you'll see some of the photographs downstairs, were 125, 150 feet wide. Beautifully painted, dressed in neon. They were fantastic. Now, during the days of Jim Crow, people of color were not allowed to go into the white girl show, but enterprising showmen, such as your grandpa, developed the black girl show. And the black girl show sat side by side with the white girl show. And as things progressed, the black girl shows became the best girl shows because they had the best entertainment. And so the white people began to gravitate to the black girl shows.
Leon Claxton's Brown Skin Vanities Review opened on Royal American shows in 1935 and rocked the world's largest carnival midway with popular Harlem numbers by Cab Calloway, Louis Armstrong, and Duke Ellington. That first year, Claxton's show broke industry records for audience size and revenue, making 1935 Royal American Show's best season yet. But some say CJ was still disillusioned about the revenue potential of a colored review. Claxton quickly borrowed $900 from Royal American Show's business manager, Elmer Villare, who saw the show's potential and helped Claxton nurture the attraction into the first venture of its kind in North America. To bring in the new 1936 season, Claxton went all out. He increased his orchestra, the Riff Cats, to 10 pieces, hired the Rhythm Rockets, a popular comedy dance team straight from Sebastian's Cotton Club in Hollywood, and headlined his leading lady and new wife, Ruby Whitfield, on the Vanities chorus line. To promote the new edition, Claxton invited in free as many people as he could fit under his top to see for themselves. The Brown Skin Vanities Review was unlike the darky carnival shows of the past. Claxton always presented his colored entertainers in a fine, sophisticated light.
I mean, we were all dressed, and we had black tuxedo coats, white shirts, the bow tie, the band, and them chicks. They were beautiful, they was gorgeous, and they was dressed.
In 1936, Claxton's Review held a record-breaking 28 performances in one day for Canadian fairgoers. By the end of the season, the U.S. and international press couldn't stop raving about Leon Claxton's Brown Skin Vanities Review.